At 32 degrees Fahrenheit, water does something violent. It doesn't slowly get slushy. It instantly and violently snaps from a flowing liquid into solid ice. Physicists call this a phase transition. The fascinating part is that the water molecules themselves haven't changed at all. They are exactly the same. What shifted was the underlying structure connecting them. Safi Bahcall, a physicist and biotech entrepreneur, realized this exact same scientific law applies to human organizations. Companies experience this identical sudden freeze as they grow. Bahcall's research suggests that as a team approaches the size of 150 people, the mathematical incentive for the average employee shifts. In a small group, individual contribution is visible and tied directly to the project's success. But in a massive organization, that impact is diluted, making it more efficient for an employee to spend their energy on rank and workplace politics than on the work itself. The company has entered its solid phase. It becomes a highly efficient franchise machine. That rigidity provides safety and scale, but it creates an environment where truly disruptive ideas are structurally doomed to fail. Those highly disruptive ideas are what Bahcall calls Loonshots. These are the concepts so deeply neglected, weird, or crazy sounding that almost everyone dismisses them as complete stupidity. This is early radar technology. Before World War II, military experts tested it, declared it useless, and rejected it, nearly throwing away an invention that eventually turned the tide of the entire war. Or look at the early digital age. The established search engine giants of the time looked at a tiny startup named Google and called their link-based ranking system an utterly useless approach to the internet. In both cases, the ideas eventually won out, but they highlight a critical truth. Innovation rarely fails because a company has a bad culture. It fails because the company's structure froze, trapping the best ideas underneath the ice. To engineer an organization that actually protects Loonshots, leaders first have to understand the materials they are working with. Ideas come in two distinct categories, and companies often have blind spots for one or the other. First are P-type, or product innovations. These are complex breakthroughs in technology or hard science, where critics look at the invention and say, that defies physics. When engineers proposed this early jet engine, people assumed planes flying at those speeds would simply melt. Then there are S-type, or strategy innovations. These involve zero new technology. Instead, they introduce a radically different business model, where critics look at it and ask, how will that ever make money? Sam Walton didn't invent the supermarket. He weaponized rural distribution. By building a massive logistics network in neglected small towns, he created a system that could outsupply and undersell every urban competitor. American Airlines did the same by inventing the frequent flyer program. They didn't build a new plane, but they created a loyalty ecosystem that shifted the airline's focus from selling one-off tickets to capturing the lifetime value of a passenger. Legacy companies often collapse because they pour all their money into engineering P-type product upgrades, completely ignoring the S-type strategy shifts happening right in front of them. To manage both types of innovation without them destroying each other, we can look to Vannevar Bush. During World War II, he was the scientist tasked with forcing rigid military generals and chaotic inventors to work together. Bush developed a set of rules, starting with separate the phases. He realized he had to physically divide his organization. On one side, you need the artists, the people creating messy, dangerous ideas. On the other side, you need the soldiers, the people executing proven, efficient products every single day. If you put the artists and the soldiers in the exact same room and judge them by the exact same metrics, the soldiers' need for absolute efficiency will crush the artists' messy experimentation every time. But separation isn't enough. Bush's second rule is dynamic equilibrium. A leader cannot act as a dictator who favors one side over the other. They have to act as a gardener, actively managing a two-way street of resources and feedback between both groups. Maintaining this constant, balanced exchange is the only way to keep a company from either going completely stale or crashing from poor execution. Even with the right structure, early-stage ideas will inevitably fail their initial tests. In rigid companies, teams immediately toss these failed projects in the trash. Bahcall calls these false failures. Take the story of Akira Endo. He was developing early statins to lower human cholesterol. But when the drug was initially tested on rats, their cholesterol levels didn't drop at all. The standard outcome mindset declared the project dead, but Endo refused to surrender. Instead, he adopted a system mindset. He stopped looking at the negative result and started questioning the hidden variables of the physical test itself. He analyzed the biology and discovered that rats naturally lack bad cholesterol. The drug couldn't lower something that wasn't there. Endo switched the trials to chickens. The drug worked beautifully, and statins went on to save millions of human lives. To rescue ideas from the trash bin of false failures, leaders must practice LSC, listening to the suck with curiosity. When an idea fails, ask why the test failed, rather than assuming the idea is worthless. To ensure your team actually has the freedom to ask those questions, you have to control your company's physical state. The call derived a mathematical equation to calculate exactly when an organization's structure will turn into rigid ice. The critical tension here lies between two variables. E represents an employee's equity, or their stake in a project's success. G represents the salary growth and power they gain by simply climbing the corporate ladder. There is a strict structural breaking point. When the personal rewards of playing corporate politics, your G variable, outweigh the rewards of actual project success, your E variable, innovation dies. The math suggests that what we call toxic culture is often just a symptom of a misaligned structure. If the incentives favor climbing the ladder over finding a breakthrough, no amount of motivational training will fix the problem. You have to change the rewards to prioritize project outcomes over hierarchy. By understanding the corporate physics driving these behaviors, any organization can thaw out its rigid structures, protect its nurseries, and allow unconventional breakthroughs to reach a global scale.